think of home. To our recovering addicts and alcoholics who share with us their struggles and journey to recovery. So, surprisingly though, the numerous responses that we receive from our televiewers were not from addicts, but from their family and loved ones. And so we decided to give you the other side of the coin on tonight's episode. And we'll try to answer the questions. What is it like to live with an addict? How can we survive life as a codependent of an addict? And how do we handle the addicts in our life? Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Closer to Home. This is your host, Atices Apostol. We're very lucky tonight, ladies and gentlemen, because we have with us again for the second time na nagiging suki na natin, our guest who is a certified addiction counselor and a licensed counseling psychologist. Let's welcome Mr. Junjun Abella. Good evening, Junjun.
Happy to be back again. Suki na nga yata.
Thank you for coming back, ha?
Anytime.
And of course, our show of codependency will not be complete without the other guests, a couple, spouses, Mr. and Mrs. Robert and Evie Labos. Good evening, Robert.
Good evening, Sis. Thank you for having me again and for inviting us.
Yes, and good evening, Evie.
Good evening, Seth. It's pleasure to be here.
Thank you very much. Are you willing to share ba talaga yung experiences mo tonight to our televiewers as a codependent?
Yes, I'm willing to tell my story.
Censored.
Uncensored. Oo. Kunyari wala si Robert. Kunyari wala si Robert. Okay, so we are saying these terms codependency, no? But I'm sure many of our televiewers are not aware yet of what codependency is. So I'd like to throw these questions to our counselor, Junjun. So what is codependency?
Siguro, maybe I should give it a little bit of history. Yung codependency was first termed back in the 70s when they were looking at the families ng mga alcoholic, and they noticed the common profile. So, and they coined the term co-alcoholic. So, parang yung alcoholic yung umiinom, pero yung codependent yung may hangover.
Okay.
Sila yung may tama. And now, it's being called naman a relationship disease. And it's a very painful disease. It's like, there's another term for it, we call it the martyr complex. So, and ang mahirap dito, there's no drug, there's no alcohol, it cannot be seen, it is not tangible, it's just something felt and not spoken.
Yung last time, no, meron tayong, sabi natin, ang mga nag-ask ng questions sa atin ay yung mga, hindi yung mga addicts ang nag-text kundi yung mga codependents, no? Or, do you still call them codependents?
Yes,
okay.
we call them codependents.
Okay.
Parang, the girl who first, the psychologist who first discovered it accidentally was Karen Horney. And it was part of the 10 neurosis.
Okay.
The need to control or to be controlled, no? To be dominated or to dominate.
Yung nag-text sa atin na, na codependent, I hope she's also watching right now, no? Sabi niya kasi is, paano mo patatawarin yung mga addict? Paano mo patatawarin at dapat mo bang patawarin? And then I remember the recovering addicts at that time answered that it is not them because it's a disease. It's a disease, na parang, and how are you going to treat the disease? Parang you treat them na maganda with love and care, di ba? Pero paano naman yung mga walang disease or yung family members na who are unwilling victims of these addicts? So paano lahat ba ng family members or loved ones ng mga addicts are codependent?
No.
Okay.
So, kung the healthy family member that is not codependent, will tell their addict or will refuse to stay in that relationship. bakit ka mag-stay in a relationship na masakit that doesn't offer you growth, that just brings you down? So a healthy person will say, tama na to. A healthy mother or a wife would get out of that relationship and take care of herself and her kids. Because in the family's desire to change the addict or the alcoholic, hindi naman nagbabago yung alcoholic. Ang nagbabago yung pamilya. Sila yung, from an atmosphere of trust and love in the home, you go to an atmosphere of DS. Do that suspecha.
So are you saying ba na dapat iwanan ng mga ng family members yung mga addicts?
Yeah. In a way, one way of helping them. I wish I could demonstrate to you. There's an exercise we do to demonstrate how it works. No?
Oh.
So as long as you're there to support, bakit ako magbabago? Diba? If you pay for the debts, ilalabas mo sa kulungan, magsisinungaling ka para sa kanila. Ikaw ang mahihiya para sa kanila. Ikaw yung nasasaktan para sa kanila. Bakit magbabago yung, bakit kailangan magbago ng adik? Ikaw yung magtatrabaho. Ikaw yung magsusuporta sa pamilya na trabaho dapat nung lalaki, di ba?
That's an interesting point of view, no?
That's what we call yung tough love, no? That's what we call stop the enabling. Tough love meaning it's the right kind of love. It's not the kind of love that will kill your dependent because you love them so much, you love them to death. And
you were saying a while ago that hindi lahat ng family members and loved ones ay codependent siya, no? So you're saying also that it's a relationship disease, di ba?
Exactly.
So paano malalaman ng isang member ng family or loved ones na may addict sa pamilya kung codependent siya or hindi? Anong mga symptoms nun?
Basically, yung codependency is kung yung kaligayahan ko dependent sa mga things outside of myself. If my happiness and sense of well-being is dependent on a relationship, or how much the guy or girl should love me, or how much I am needed, and despite being hurt and continue to be hurt, I stay in that relationship hoping the other person will change.
So it's more ng parang wala kang, if you don't love yourself enough, parang nakadepend ka sa
Wala kang
ibang
self-esteem.
tao, so kaya codependent.
Yeah.
That's where the term
It's not self-esteem, it's called other esteem.
Oh.
Your self-esteem is based on the other person, how that other person needs you, or how much love na kahit hindi nasusuklian, how much hurt. Parang ang sabi ko, it hurts so good. And stay,
Okay. So let's ask naman, no? So we heard parang the theoretical side of codependency. Now,
It's not theory, that's a relationship. That's also my experience with my mom.
okay.
So I am in a relationship with her, but I can't get out of it.
Oh, okay.
I can't live with you. I can't live without you. Yun ang codependent.
Okay.
And I have no choice.
Okay. So let's hear it from certified codependent. Certified codependent, ano. So, Evie, was there a point na yung parang na-realize mo na codependent ka, or at kailan yon at paano on your part?
It's very, very hard to really distinguish it before because it's very hard to look into yourself. When the first I encountered being a relationship with an addict, I thought I can save the world. I'll do everything in order for him to change. Then later on, being in the program with the 12 steps, I saw myself. There's also progress. That it's very different. Where was I before, and where I am now? So I was able to determine already my own disease.
Okay.
Focusing not only with the addict anymore, but more for myself.
So it's not only Robert who's recovering from the addiction, but even you. And maybe that includes also the family?
Yes. Every member of the family should actually recover.
Okay. I'm just curious, Evie, how was it like to live with an addict? What is life with an addict?
Life with an addict was very difficult. If I could say hell, yes, hell. That before I learned the program, it was really hell. I really thought I was in hell.
Such a strong word.
May violent reaction,
That's the
kay
hustler.
Robert,
Really, but not having a program, it was really like hell. But when I was start practicing it, right now it's difficult, but it's better. It's better because I don't look out that much anymore. I cannot say, hypocrisy aside, I cannot say that I really don't look at him anymore. I still do because it's a disease. And what's harder now?
How do you describe hell, Han? You use hell. What do you mean by hell?
I'm supposed to be the one asking question, not you, Robert.
because,
You have
you
your
know,
time.
No, it's
Example ng hell.
some of hell.
Example.
Qualify that.
It's like melodramatic scene, like
For example,
telenovela scene, that you argue, get into too much out of the proportion. Like you only fight, start in the small things, even like turning the light. And then later on, you will realize already throwing things.
Were there physical violence?
Well, at the first early marriage there was, and like me, I'm really an independent person, so I fight back. And I told them, "You don't hurt me physically again." And I realized emotionally battering is more difficult than physical. You know,
Okay.
pero it's okay.
Okay, let's ask Robert, no? I remember the last time, you were also here nung pinag-usapan natin yung sa addiction. And I remember, I remember it was you yata who said that you don't realize that you're hurting people and you're the last one to know and to admit that you're an addict. So, while she was suffering in your life, hindi mo talaga na-realize that you're hurting her?
It was really, I didn't realize it. You know, I didn't mean it. I didn't realize it. I didn't intend it. You know, in my mind, in my imagination, or whatever it was, I had this fantasy that we were happily married, that we were okay, that I was providing for her, that we were happy. You know, and while she was talking, you know, it just reminded me that, you know, it really takes two to tango. At that time, we were playing a game, or I don't know what it was.
Okay, so ang hirap pala yung ano, so you are hurt emotionally and physically at first, and then yung other person naman, the partner, is not realizing na ganun pala yung ano nangyayari. So nandun yung ano, yung conflict.
I hurt her physically once, and I remember the next day it was again another codependent of mine who intervened, my father. So saw her that she had some bruises. The next morning, my dad kind of separated the two of us, and that was one incident.
Okay, so we heard, dear televiewers, na kinabi kanina na ating counselor what codependency is, and then we heard also from our codependent here na it's more like yung not loving yourself, no? It's more like taking care more of the addict, no? And so okay, so you want to
I
add
was just
something?
curious, what, from Evie's point of view, you mentioned you were in hell.
Yeah.
Why did you stay there?
Well, maybe because it's too late for me to figure out what my disease really was. And I think I believe kasi there's always a purpose for individual. Then maybe I just have to go through my own process. Some people get out of it right away, and some people just stayed and recovered together with their partners.
Or parang nagdi-denial siguro din.
There was I think there was denial in that, because I can remember only in really this last few years, the description of Junjun on tough love was really practiced between the two of us.
Okay, so there you go, ladies and gentlemen. So we're going to have a short break, and after that, we're going to discuss further how the codependents will recover with their recovering addicts. We'll be right back. Think of home.
Closer to home.
Closer to home.
Oops, closer to home.
Closer to home.
Closer to home. Closer to home. Closer to home.
Closer to home.
Closer to home. mind that love and peace will reign when you're closer to home. Okay, we're back, ladies and gentlemen, and we're still with our counselor, Junjun Abella, and spouses Robert and Evie Labos, and we are discussing the disease, hindi ko masabi, no? Parang relationship disease, which is called a codependency. No? And so,
Actually, there are rehabs for codependency.
Oh, really?
I remember one of my clients, they broke up in treatment, and then the wife found another man and another alcoholic. And then, so she went to a rehab in Australia.
oh,
My half-sister died
uh-huh.
because she was codependent. She was married to an alcoholic. She just didn't know how
So,
to get
so
out of it.
codependency can actually kill a person? Baka faster pa than the addict, ano?
Linger.
Okay.
But I think that, I think the whole point was yung Abby mentioned hell. I don't know, did you know you were in hell, or is it just now that you realize you were in hell?
It's just now that I realized I was in hell. Before,
So you're thinking na okay lang yung buhay nyo nun?
yes.
Even if alam mo na talagang addict si Robert?
Yes, akala ko okay lang. Kasi akala ko, maayos ko.
Ayos mo.
Maayos ko. Akala ko, pag nandiyan ka, every
Show
time,
your love,
Yeah,
you know.
show your love, add more love, everything will be okay.
Was it also hard for the children? I understand you have twin daughters, right?
Yes, I have twin daughters and then 3 boys. We have
Three
5
boys.
kids.
Oh, yeah. So, how is it, how are they coping up with this? Were they affected or?
Definitely they were affected. The problem started when we got married. My twin daughters are only 1-year-old then. They're already experiencing all the chaos in the house. And then the
Like what?
like the fighting,
okay.
Verbal fight, things like that.
So, Robert was an addict early on in the marriage.
Yes, I
Before
know.
the marriage
yes.
pa yata.
Before the marriage pa.
Actually, when we were just dating, I already know that he was taking.
Tumuloy ka pa rin, ha?
No.
Nasa kapila.
Yeah?
Yeah, because then maybe the notion of I can save the world or the superwoman thing, ba? That you can do it. And then you try
That he
and
will
try.
change for you.
Yes.
Those-
Then when you have kids, it will change. If you have another like this and like that, it will change.
But it
That's why
did
you
not.
had so many kids, huh?
Don't give up.
So, paano yung mga bata? Are they open in discussing these things to you, or parang nagdi-denial din sila, or they just keep mum on these issues?
No, nung maliit pa sila, Robert was already in rehab. And I also go to that rehab for treatment as well.
As a codependent?
As a codependent. So, kung anong konti ko na is, inaano ko yung mga bata, like I tell them that your father is sick. Not really per se kung anong sick, but he needs to go away because most often Robert is out there. Like he stays in our place after a month of sobriety, he relapses. So again, the father will be gone in the house. So I just have to tell the children.
So, paulit-ulit, ha?
Oh, paulit-ulit.
Oh, gusto kong tanongin si Junjun, ito ba yung sinasabi mo kanina na dapat yung mga addicts talagang iniiwanan? Ito ba yung sinasabi mo na they have to reach yung parang bottom line nila for them to really be forced into rehabilitating?
Parang matauhan, yung insanity, we define it as doing the same thing over and over again, and you expect a different result each time. Wasn't it insanity to stay in that kind of a relationship and you expect him to change each time you had a new baby? Who was more insane, the guy taking the drugs or the person following the guy taking the drugs? Sino mas baliw? Yung baliw yung sumusunod sa baliw. At saka hindi na naiintindihan na mas baliw pala siya. Yun ang masakit doon dahil lahat ng programs, halos lahat ng program natin, naka-focus on the addict. Yung mga anak nila are 87% to 100% chances at least one would become a
Pero kasi
addict, diba?
mahirap din naman yun eh, 'di ba? Syempre, love mo yung tao eh, ano, parang iiwanan mo, 'di ba? Parang you promise in sickness and in health you'll be together, ganun. Tapos
That's true, because that's for mostly a Catholic country, and that is the vow we take. But what if we got married and you were not in the proper frame of mind? Your husband was under the influence. These are grounds for annulment. Wala dun sa the guy you were marrying was not, was not there. Was not there. So ano yun?
so kailangan
So
talaga
maybe if you got married in sobriety, that will really count, no? Pero yung nagpakasal ka ng may tama yung pinapakasalan mo, ako counted yan.
Why are you giving that idea to her?
Kailangan pa siguro uminom para matanda, uy, kasal pala ako.
Tama ako eh.
Pero pag sinabi mong iwanan, do you mean parang physically iwanan? Kasi nakikita ko dito, Evie and Robert seems to be, parang it's working out naman na ngayon, di ba? Pero I understand they were not separated, physically, di ba? So, paanong gagawin doon? Kung halimbawang hindi mo naman kayang iwanan, are there other ways of iwanan yung addict to learn?
So, the psychological knapsack, we call it.
Uh-huh.
Yung you leave home, pero nakadetach. That's also possible, but that's going to be harder. It's like, ang drug ng codependent is the addict. For the addicts, we have to abstain from the drug. Hindi naman sila pwede, kung if you are codependent, hindi ka naman pwede mag-abstain dun sa asawa mo. What you can abstain from is your attitude and your behavior towards him. So that's the kind of iwanan that I'm talking about. You stop doing that behavior that enables the addiction.
So, mas mahirap, kaya mo sinasabing mas mahirap gamutin yung codependent. Kasi yung addict, pwede niyang iwanan yung addiction niya. Pero yung codependent, ang hirap iwanan. Paano mo iiwanan yun? Oo. Robert has something to say.
Well, I think ours is really very obvious.
Oo.
You have the drugs there, physical. You have the symptoms that is very, so, and like what Junjun said a while ago, really we focus on the addict. But with the codependent, you also mentioned that there's really a lot of denial. There's really a lot of things cloaked by saying because of love, because of care, because of this is what I was I grew up with. My parents, no matter how I saw them fight, I never left. So really, there's that denial, and there's really and also people neglect it or don't look at it. It's nobody focuses on it. So there's really that. It starts really with just like with any disease. I don't have that disease. I'm okay. I don't have a problem. He has the problem.
And the codependent believes that. Ganun.
It's denial.
Siyempre nakikita to ng mga anak. Ano yung lesson na kukuha nila? Children learn not from what you say, but from what they observe and what they experience. If we want to teach them how to brush their teeth, we show them how. And see mo, if you're growing up in a family with an addiction, and this is what they see that, okay, pag magkasakitan, okay lang tiisin. At saka wag natin pag-usapan. Hindi ko pwedeng sabihin, nakakahiya. At an early age, we're teaching them shame. So, ito yung normal na kinalakihan nila. Do you think they will fall or get attracted to somebody healthy?
So, ang tendency ng mga
Propagate.
ang tendency ng mga children growing up in a dysfunctional family na codependent yung nanay, maging codependent din sila. So
they
they
will be
attract.
attracted to a dysfunctional person also. Or system.
Parang nakaka-relate ako doon.
So we propagate. Kaya dumadami.
Kaya dumadami yung addicts, dumadami rin yung mga codependents. At
Which they-
dahil maraming parang nag-enable
So
sa
we don't
kanila.
know if it's like a question, the chicken or the egg. Ano ba
Yeah.
nag-cause ng codependency? Was it the addiction? Or the codependency caused the addiction?
Oh, okay.
Right. So I think I started as a codependent. Maybe seeing this from and then turning into I don't know, an addict, but it can get really also that question. But it's what we look at is really the here and now, what is practical and etc. And that small comment a while ago, you asked two questions. What do you mean by separate? I think literally it means that way, to separate physically, emotionally, and all of those things, the ties,
So you're
and
saying-
even the sick, you know,
so
when
you're saying, Robert, na most addicts were codependents before.
Could be.
And then it's a cycle. It's
A
a
lot of
cycle.
our addictions, or a lot of our codependency were masked by our
Okay.
addiction. And then when we stopped the drugs and the addiction to drugs and alcohol,
Okay.
the initial codependency surfaces. And that's what we have to work on. Parang yung farmer, nagkaroon ng typhoon, pumasok sa basement, yung paglabas niya, ubos na lahat. So, pero natuwa siya. Sabi niya, uy, we survived. Sabi
Okay.
ng asawa niya, there's nothing left.
Okay, so we're going to discuss more of that now. We're going to another break, and then we're going to discuss and find out how codependents can recover. We'll be right back. We're back, ladies and gentlemen. Nandito po tayo uli, and we're still discussing yung topic natin on codependency. No? I remember the last time na pinag-usapan natin yung addiction, you were saying that there's no cure for addiction. You can only control it, but there's no cure for that. So, manage.
Manage it.
So not control, manage. So once an addict, always an addict. That's why you still call yourself addicts, di ba? Eh yung mga codependents, is there a cure for codependency?
Very good question. Some of my clients, actually, that the codependents that did recover, most of them broke up, sadly, and they broke up with their partners, and this were for the married spouses, and they had created their own lives. That was not, and they attempted not to react, to the, yun ang struggle dun to stop reacting and start becoming, proactive and having your own life. That would be the challenge for the
So
codependent.
are you saying na kapag yung codependents finally decided to leave the addict and parang yun na yung parang masabi mo na cured siya or something? What can you say about that, Abby? You think you can be cured, or can you feel that na nako-cure yung codependency mo?
The same with the addicts, it cannot be cured, only can be managed. Whether the person stays in a relationship or not, but we also follow the steps that they have, like the first step and the second step and third. Which is the first, we really have to admit that, we're powerless over things. And then after that next step is what is ibigay mo o naisip mo that there's somebody out there, your higher power,
God.
to God. And then the third is to let go in God, and the rest of the steps. The 3 basic steps really help me a lot in recovery.
Okay.
Pero, like what I've said, it's just, you just can manage it. Cannot be cured. Kasi, like the addicts, anytime pwede sila mag-relapse And tayo, mas madalas ang relapse ng codependent.
So siguro it's easier for the addicts to recover from the drug because normally the treatment is for them and sa kanila nakafocus, So araw-araw na doon, staying ka, residential, kulong. But the family member, they just come in maybe once a month or maybe once during the duration. So how do you expect them to be able to practice and apply also those steps? So it's and aside from that, they have to take over all the responsibilities and the duties and take care of the family na hindi naman mag-snag.
Dahil yung addict hindi mapakinabangan. So, I'm just curious kay Robert, what if one day, right now you are supporting din yung recovery efforts ni Evie, right? What if one day ma-realize ni Evie na the real parang maka-recover ako talaga ng mas maganda, mas mabilis. Sabi niya, iiwanan ko na lang yung addict para matanggal ako. So, anong opinion mo dito?
Well, that happened to us actually. That really happened to us. That happened to me, per se. And I'd like to believe that also happened to my wife. And now that I see it real as gears turning. Now that my gears are turning into recovery, I'd like to believe that also my wife is also working on her own issues, and it's also turning, and nagmamatch ngayon yung amin year. Hindi na iipit yung isa. As long as we're both turning to recovery, I think it will work out. I can, and they say in recovery, we really, it's beyond my imagination what will happen, the nice thing that will happen. But I believe just as long as I'm turning into recovery, she's also working on her recovery, it's going to work. But it really started by having that, that turning point that turning point that, she's not I know that she's gone. I know that there's nobody that will enable me with my addiction, and it woke me up. It
So,
really woke me up.
umalis si Evie.
It was a rude awakening.
Sinilayasan ka niya.
Hindi ko siya,
Pinalayas.
Pinalaya.
ako nagpalayas sa kanya.
Okay.
Pero yung about it being a sickness, with us, I believe it's really a sickness because they saw it, their genes, it's susceptible with our genes, but I don't know if it's a sickness for the codependent, or it's just an adapted way of looking at things, or they acquired it, I don't know, or whatever.
Okay.
But yun nga, walang studies on
So
it.
are you saying now na ayaw mong iwanan ka
No,
ni Evie?
that's why I asked every or the codependent, when she means they're sick or he's sick, do they really mean it that he's really sick, like with hypertension, or he's sick in his head, or that you're sick, because it's very, if you see somebody in the hospital and then you say this guy is sick, you work with that guy with compassion. But if you say that guy is sick for let's say growing up on the floor, you don't have that compassion. Yung word na sick and really sick.
Siguro, I would say Evie is recovered na. When she can say, I can live without Robert. And I can live with Robert, but I choose to do so, whatever way.
So, meaning hindi na dependent yung happiness niya
Parang
kundi doon sa
kabaliktaran
decision
ni
niya.
Jerry Maguire. Yung kay Jerry Maguire, sabi niya, you complete me. That is the sickest thing you can say in the world. So, I need you. That's why I'm with you. So, recovered ka na when say, I don't need you, but I want to be with you. And I choose to be with you.
Oh, okay.
So, are you, on that scale, Evie, nasaan ka na ngayon? On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 yung, nasa ka na?
Nasa 10.
Nasa
So, you
10
could
na.
say that she has recovered.
That's what she claims. So,
Meron akong napansin, no? I've seen a lot of yung mga relationships, no? So, nakita ko na at least it's working for Robert and Evie. Merong mga iba na, nung addict, magkasama sila. Nung naka-recover na, kung kailan nag-recover na yung addicts, at saka pa umalis yung asawa niya, bakit nangyayari yun? Di ba dapat nga parang yung asawa, parang ang ano mo is, or yung family is, tumigil lang ito sa pag-addict niya, okay na ako, ganun. Pero, how come? Ba't nangyayari yun?
remember, like in Evie's case, she married somebody who was a dependent. Now, in recovery, the dependent stops becoming dependent, but becomes independent. And you see, for so many years, the relationship style was about taking care of. And now all of a sudden, you don't have anybody to take care of. And then this person becomes independent. Parang hindi ka na needed. You know? Parang, where's your identity now? You're useless. You're not.
Parang hinahanap-hanap niya yung addict, ganun.
Exactly.
Oh, wow.
Or even managing the household. For the longest time, I was gone. And then, I come back and then start also trying to take on my
Suddenly, may
responsibilities.
nakikialam na dun sa
Oo,
bahay,
responsibility. So, what was, what everybody was used to, more off balance ng konti. And that, that wall, some people cannot just go to that wall. It's really hard work, Or just because after in recovery, you're starting to love yourself, know yourself, and then you just suddenly realize, this is not what I want in life.
We call that the wounded bird. Yung parang nakakita ako ng kalapate, bali yung pakpak, or may sakit siya, no? And then, inalagaan ko yung kalapate. Habang gumagaling na yung bird, I know it's gonna fly away. And I will lose that pet. So, maybe I'll just break off a little feather. para not completely fly away and stay with me. And I
Ganon.
can still take care of somebody. The need to be needed.
That's also a form of addiction, ano? Parang yung siya mismo ayaw niyang mag-recover, parang ganon. So that's the ano
Hindi
pala.
naman sa ayaw, no? It hurts so good. It hurts so good.
Yung martyrdom syndrome na sinasabi mo kanina. Oo. Dumating ka ba doon sa point na gano'n, Evie? Yung parang hinahanap-hanap mo yung taking care of an addict?
No.
No?
No. Just I reached the point na pagod ka na eh.
Uh-huh.
You know, sa umpisa, parang siguro unconsciously na you think it's better that you do things for him. Pero later on, you get tired of it. You know, hanggang sa sarili mo, you ask yourself, do you deserve that kind of life?
Well, this is now in recovery. But I remember before, when even my driver's license, I didn't have a driver's license eh. For years, it was her driver's license. Pag nahuli kami sa daan, she would face the police.
Sobrang
So, small
enabler
things
talaga,
yung,
no?
Certified.
you know,
Certified.
my work, I would be absent for probably 3 days or a week. They'd call up the house. She'd say, she lost his tooth or he's sick, may sakit siya.
Talagang
You know,
pinagtakpan ka.
Oo. This thing happened for years.
So parang
Pero-
na-spoiled yung mga addicts, kaya they keep on doing these things kasi they're getting special treatments from the CODEP. Ganun ba
You
yun?
know, I've had over siguro 1,000 clients. Every single one was a mama's boy.
Oh, really? Is that
Single one.
every single one addict? So you're saying na if you're a mama's boy, mas predisposed ka? Ganon?
And we're
That
very
high
good.
risk.
We're very good in finding the next codependent or the codependent. Because, you know, after my mom got sick and tired of me or my dad got sick and tired of me, I got married. Somebody took care of me.
At saka karamihan, mga junior. Kaya yung anak ko, hindi ko na pinangalanan junior.
Really? Yun yung mga profile ng mga ano ha. So you're really, are you consciously seeking for a codependent or basta nangyayari na lang yon? I mean the addict. Hindi naman.
It was a fuel to continue with my using. It was a ways and means to really to continue with my using. So when it, you know, it
So
was
kung sino
up to-
yung pumapayag,
it
doon ka.
contributed, oo. Nag-contribute siya because, and also there was really, it was because of really love and care, but yung nga, yung sinabi nga that there's also the other, there's that love also that you say na tough love.
Yung bang point na nag-ano ka, na recover ka or nag-rehabilitate ka, meron bang kinalaman yun dun sa ano ni Evie?
Yes.
Influenced ba niya yun?
Oh, because I remember that night, I was gone for about maybe 2 weeks already. Tapos pumunta ako, dumaan ako sa bahay, I knock on the gate with the intent to borrow money. Sabi ko, pairam ng pera. And she said na, I'm not going to lend you money. Tapos sinabi ko na, if you're not going to lend me money, I'm going to die here. Hindi pa ako kumakain. Sabi niya sa akin, mamatay ka dyan. So, and then finally, I'm just going to help you if you want to help yourself, if you're going to go to treatment. So, yun. So, it really, what if, inisip ko nga yung what if What if she lent me money that night? I still wouldn't be in recovery.
So yun yung tough love na sinasabi. Tikisin mo, gano'n.
Do the right thing.
Do the right thing. Ganun. Mahirap yung gawin, ano? Sabihin sa'yo na mahal mo yung tao, tapos hindi na ako kumakain. And then
Mahirap.
sabihin mo, bahala ka mamatay ka sa gutom dyan. No?
Mahirap kasi you feel guilty eh.
Oo.
Buhay yan eh. Lalapit sa'yo, tapos hihingi, tapos lahat ng sasabihin nilang paawa. It's very hard. But dumating din doon sa point na tama na. I'm no longer helping myself eh. Kumbaga natuto na rin akong alagaan ng sarili ko. Pero dati,
And I remember her, and I think it's not only the guilt, but I remember also one of the difficulty you shared with me was what would my brothers and sister think of you? What would my mom think of you to say?
ako nag-blame eh.
So
I don't want
it's
to
more
be
of the
blamed.
guilty feeling and the image, preservation and
Yes.
family,
Guilt
gano'n.
trip.
I don't want to be blamed there for what's
I was
happening
just
to
wondering,
me.
Abby, was there something the treatment process could have done to have helped the recovery faster, or for you?
Yes, a lot, sana. Like na,
Like what? What do we need to do from our side? No?
siguro yun nga, para sa akin, sinabi mo kanina that, you always focus on the addicts. You only have one session with the family. So for me, it will be better if there's also somebody who will really focus with the codependents. Because mahirap mahirap
Sige.
yung...
Magtatag tayo ng ganyan
Sino
heavy,
kaya
ano?
yung mga tao na mag-focus sa mga
Okay. Okay, we'll have another short break, no? It's getting to be very interesting. Mahirap putulin, no? But we have to go to another break. And after that, we have some text-in questions. Kung may mga question pa rin po kayo, pwede niyo pa rin i-text, and we'll answer these questions when we return. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we have some text-in questions here. Hindi ko masyadong maintindihan ito, pero I'll read it, no, and then maybe we'll decipher. Sabi niya, did it ever had a chance during their recovery that they were tempted again if they had controlled themselves, and how? Ano kaya ibig niya sabihin?
I
Parang
mean the addict or
the recovery of the addict or the recovery of the codependent? Sagutin na lang natin siguro parehas.
At least for the addict.
Sigurado.
Lagyan mo ako dyan ng 100 grams ng shabu, titirahin ko lahat yan. Always be tempted, Or somebody's there, may naghubad dyan ng babae. Namihirap yata magpigil yan.
So, even after being sober for 19 years,
Of course.
gano'n?
Lahat yun sa labas, umiinom, Naglalaway ako. Pag may nakita akong umiinom, hindi ako pwede uminom. Sinatapos ko lang yung kwento ko na pag uminom ako, mas gago ako dito.
Ikaw, Robert, do you still feel that?
I was about to say, thank you for your honesty, June. And if you want me to be honest, it wouldn't even take maybe 100 grams. Maybe just a gram.
Ganon?
It's a reality. So that's why we do this on a daily basis. We pray on a daily basis. We work on our program on a daily basis.
We get closer to God because we pray daily.
Okay, so
Mas close kami
that's
to
why
God.
you have this word na just for today. Just for today. Okay. Yung sa CODEP naman. So, na-control mo nalab mo na yung sarili mo as a CODEP. Dumarating din ba yung time na parang nagre-relapse ka rin?
Paano ang relapse?
At
Every
paano?
second of the day. It's actually mas worse sa
Anong nararamdaman?
yung madali kang mag-react. Yun yung magigigil ka na tinatawag. Na kung meron kang hindi nagustuhan sa sinabi niya o sa ginawa niya, ang sarap ka agad, yung harapin at sagutin. Kasi nga, by nature, codependent, parang you wanted to control things also. So like
I thought
said,
the codependent is sunod lang ng sunod doon sa addict. Hindi pala.
No,
So there's also the need to
power
control.
So we have to say, if you give a lot, givers are controllers.
Kaya every second, like you said, psycho every second kasi it's a struggle for me. Especially now that both in recovery, there's no more excuses. Before, parang daling mag-blame na, you were taking, ganyan. Right now, mas mahirap.
Mas mahirap. Pero at least hindi mo na rin tinatanggap yung blame niya sa'yo.
Hindi na.
Oo.
Hindi na.
Dati-
Basura niya yun, So,
Kanya-kanyang basura lang yan.
Kanya-kanyang basura yan.
Okay. So, yung mga bata naman, are they also part of your recovery process?
Yes.
Are they undergoing also some kind of treatment or program?
They should.
They should. They should.
Right now,
Right
hindi
now, wala pa.
Uh-huh.
But we're already experiencing it, that they really need one. Kasi ang hirap
What are you
na
experiencing?
Yung relationship nila with the father. Kasi sanay silang wala ang father, sanay sila na wasted yung father. Ngayon, lalo na lumalaki, my eldest are already 18 years old. So they have the mind of their own.
So, pakiramdam nila, pinapakilaman sila nung tatay niya ngayon. After all these years.
Marunong na silang sumagot. Na they learn how to stand for their own. At mahirap kasi ako'y nasa gitna .
Pero hindi ba that is a good thing kasi if you are codependent nga, you should
Nobody
love
places her in the
yourself.
middle.
Ha?
Just
So, nobody places her in the middle. Yung ako'y nasa gitna. Wala naglagay sa kanya sa gitna. There's that talk about triangulation.
Kaya nga mahirap ang coding eh.
Dapat pabayaan ni Evie yung mag-ama.
Nakita ko yung reaction ni Jun nung sinabi niya agad na I'm in the middle. Talagang medyo violent yung reaction niya, no?
Mag-fix na naman siya eh. Kailangan niya i-fix si Robert, kailangan i-fix yung mga
Fix,
anak.
With us, at least I'm really happy. Tama talaga. It was palaging boiled down na ang laki kasi talaga ng focus, ng resources, ng help sa addicts. Like we have what they call about yung really making a conscious effort and see myself. There's that sinasabi na on the end of the day, I check myself. Kasi nandun, but all of these things that's helping me right now, all these tools that's helping me right now, can help also the codependent.
Ganun. You think it's parang sinasabi mo nga na ganun, parang kung nagre-recover itong isa, iniisip niya yung sarili niya, di ba? So, ano namang klase yung relationship na nagre-recover yung hindi ba parang mas tahimik yung buhay kung nagre-recover yung addict, tapos yung codependent okay lang, sumusuporta doon sa addict, which is really what's happening, di ba? Pagka
Kawawa
ganun.
naman.
Kawawa naman yung
Parang naghahatakan kayo pababa.
so they should be both into recovery. Okay.
Both were wounded, both were hurt, so
Okay.
both should go through a process of
Okay.
And I think of my children, yung iniisip ko din yung mga anak ko, I don't want them to either, any of them to grow up with what happened to me or with what happened to her. To get into maybe a relationship that they're not happy with, or they abuse drugs,
Or they are being abused by addicts.
or not being abused. There's no,
As a
like what they
as a
say
codependent.
on that context. That's why they say nga, giving is also really a form of giving is really also a form of controlling. So I don't want them also to go to our relationship that's not working. That they might see that in their mother. Na makita nila sa mother nila yun.
Okay. So, ano naman yung right now, no? Marami tayong, I'm sure, nakaka-relate na, ay, codependent pala ako. May relationship disease pala ako. So, but in the different situations, like, maswerte kung recovering na. Hindi, yung ibig sabihin, nagre-recover na yung addict. Yung isa naman, hindi pa nagre-recover. But they're both codependents, diba? Anong may papayo nyo? First, doon sa mga codependents na hindi pa nagre-recover yung mga yung mga
Stop.
addicts nila.
Get a life. Stop first and get a life.
Okay. Stop and get a life,
Yes.
ganon. Okay. And that way, they're also helping yung
Helpers, my mentor told me before, Junjun, imagine a world where everybody just took care of themselves. What kind of a world would that be?
maganda, no?
Not trying to change anybody else,
Okay. Okay, so, before, I'd like to give you an opportunity na anong gusto niyo sabihin sa mga codependents and addicts out there. So, we'll start with you, Jun.
Earlier I mentioned that, parang yung focus na talaga in programs sa country natin really on the addiction and on the alcoholism. And we have, there's no, hindi na nila-neglect yung family. Or even if it's recognized, it's insufficient. It's like, and now we have grown, dumadating tayo sa punto na, maybe we've been barking up the wrong tree. Maybe we should be barking or doing programs for the codependent. And maybe if we do that, there will be less addicts, because I think breeding ground, the codependent family system. And Evie mentioned earlier, more program, but I think it's you guys that need to be more involved, we can take care of our own, and I will address my own codependency, my drug use and everything, but kayo yung nakaramdam nito, and like we have a saying, there's the therapeutic value of one addict helping another is without parallel. Perhaps the therapeutic value of one codependent helping another codependent is also without
Without
parallel.
parallel. So you should support one another, parang ganon.
Yeah.
Okay, so Robert?
Well, for me, the focus that, really, I agree totally with what Junjun said, and also what my wife said. In fact, it was Evie who said it first, no, na we get all the focus, the help, the resources, and because of this, it helped me a lot also. It started first with my addiction, the actual stopping from using. Now, because of this, I don't know if it's this program or this training that I had or this way of living that I had, I can start now applying it even to my codependency. Right now, it's easier for me, it's almost automatic for me to apply step 1 not only on my drugs or the steps on my codependency on, I cannot really change her. I can't do anything about her hurting. And so, same manner, I think for me, it's easier for me to apply this in my other issues, eh. Because I had the focus, I had the resources. I had what they say, yung recovery resources ko. I had that. Sana, sa codependency, we will leave a number with you, says, or a place, because usually there's this meeting or this group of codependents that meet here in Baguio. So we will leave that with you.
Okay, so aside from yung Narcotics Anonymous, NA and AA, meron ding codependence.
Yeah,
Anonymous
codependence.
din.
CODA.
Codependence.
Codependence Anonymous.
Ah, okay. So parang
Leave your husbands anonymous.
Okay. So, Evie, what would you like to share to our televiewers about codependency and your experiences?
For me, siguro, love yourself first. That's really a very basic starting point. Because, may kasabihan nga, diba, you really cannot love a person if you don't learn how to love yourself first. And there's help. There's help, hindi lang yung addict ang kailangan ng tulong, kahit mga codependents na katulad ko, ay mas lalong nangangailangan ng tulong. So, dapat lang, wag mahiya na humingi ng tulong para rin sa sarili nila.
Okay. So, we'll appreciate it very much. Bibigyan na number ni Robert para matulungan natin yung ibang mga codependency din. Okay. So, thank you very much for accepting our invitation, no? And for the second time, Junjun and Robert.
Thank you
Sana
very
may
much.
third time pa uli kasi parang bitin pa rin no? Thank you, Evie, for coming out in the open and trying to help the other dependents. Okay, so there you go, ladies and gentlemen. We learned tonight that there is another type of addiction, and that is addiction to addicts, no? Na sinabi nila, a relationship disease, no? And that we should not subject ourselves to that. We should learn to love ourselves. And the mothers out there, sabi kanina, no, you should not spoil your sons, kadabihan, no? Yung mga favorite children daw. And we should exercise tough love. At sabi nga nila is, sometimes your love can kill these people, no? So if we really love those addicts in our lives, then let's help them reach the rock bottom na tinatawag, no? And exercise tough love. Okay? So with that, I'd like to thank our guests, no? And of course, each and every one of our televiewers. Sana po marami kayong natutunan ngayon, and sana po sa next na show namin, you will still be with us, and thank you for participating and sending in your text messages. This is your Ate Ces Apostol saying, have a restful night, everyone. Good night.
When I think of home, I think of a place where there's love overflowing. I wish I was home, I wish I was back there with the things I've been knowing. Suddenly my world's gone and changed its face, but I still know where